Texas City Tells History Uncovered. My name is Shelby Rodwell. I'm the curator at the Texas City Museum, and this is my lovely co-host.
Hi, I'm Teresa Mayfield, local history librarian with Moore Memorial Public Library.
And today we're kind of picking up where we left off last about the Texas City disaster. Just a quick recap. It is still to this day the worst industrial disaster in America. At least 581 people passed away in the explosions. There were two explosions, the Grand Camp and then the next ship, the High Flyer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just generally an extremely chaotic, scary, and traumatic time, right? There was a lot of localized and statewide efforts to rebuild Texas City. And I think Teresa has some really interesting stories about that, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, they had to close off the city, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And firefighters from around the state came. Police from Houston and around the state came to help cordon off the area so that there were no looting, right? Mm-hmm. We had, the morticians had to come, the embalmers had to come. A lot of people had to come in, one, to treat those people who were injured and then take them to a hospital or treat them if they had passed away, right?
And there were some pretty immediate things that the city did as well, right? 3 days after the blast on April 19th, there was a memorial for the missing held. And then in June 22nd, just a few months after the disaster, was a mass funeral that was held to pay respects to the deceased.
Well, during this time, right, so Galveston, Houston, and San Antonio sent their police. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Army brought blood, plasma, gas masks, food. The Red Cross came. Texas City Hall and the Chamber of Commerce building turned into temporary makeshift infirmaries, but many had to be sent to Galveston or Houston, right, to be treated. The high school gym, located over on 6th Street at the time, was utilized as a temporary morgue for people to recover their loved ones, right, and for identification.
And there was a lot of confusion around that, too, because people were being taken out of and it's 1947, there's not pagers and cell phones and things like that, so people were separated from their loved ones.
Right. That's exactly what happened. Camp Wallace actually became a place where people could go to, so that once they left the city, and where you could probably meet up with your family members. And it actually stayed for a few days as a place where you could get food. You can the kids could have like a refugee camp. The kids could go there. They'd have things for them to do. It was, Galveston County and the state of Texas, rallied hard around Texas City.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just Galveston County in Texas. I mean, we started seeing donations come in, like fundraising there were fundraisers from very famous people like Jack Benny, Frank Sinatra, to raise money for the people of Texas City. So it alerted our whole country to this disaster in such a way that, there are letters. People sent letters. We have some letters in our archive where people sent letters. They sent music. They sent poetry. They wanted to build up the people in Texas City because they felt they needed to do something. They didn't know what they could do, but everyone did their best. They tried in little ways to bring some comfort to the people of Texas City.
That started to bring a little tear to my eye. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, we have some fantastic sheet music in our archive. So our archive has a lot of paper documents related to what happened in Texas City. So, for example, this book right here, it has a fantastic map inside. It shows the blast radius.
Oh, wow.
This is from the insurance company.
Yeah.
And it shows the blast radius, like what damage happened, 1 mile out, 2 miles out, 3 miles out, right?
Yeah.
And it puts it all into perspective, because if you put that map over a map current today,
Texas,
right, then you can see like how far it actually went, how far this destruction actually went.
Wow, that's really interesting. I think one thing that's important to mention too, as far as one of the outcomes goes, right, during the fallout. I mean, during reconstruction after this disaster, there was a lawsuit against the United States, Delahite v. United States, and the thought was that these chemicals were being used in the production of explosives during World War II, but there wasn't any clear regulations or clear signage put, or any really dissemination of knowledge of what these chemicals could truly do, right, under the correct circumstances. So there was a claim by the survivors against the United States that there was culpability on the government's part for not protecting longshoremen and the general community.
I mean, also, a lot happened after this disaster. A lot of thought went into what happened during the disaster, and then also what could have been done differently. And to this day, the Texas City disaster is sort of the touch point for many emergency management organizations, and statewide, federally wide, that teach, this is what happened, this is what we have to, these are the kind of what we need to implement in order to have since we're dealing with maybe chemicals or something that could be dangerous, right, for the community, but in general dangerous for anybody. But
so it really just set this precedence.
It set a precedence for what was to come and how you handle a disaster in the future.
Right. I mean, it's hard to talk about silver linings with something so catastrophic,
right,
and so traumatic, generationally too, because there's, now, there's that healing from something like that doesn't happen in a lifetime, right? It takes years and years. Again, but I still think it's important to talk about that, right? To talk about that small little sliver of silver lining that through the experiences of the survivors, we now will, not
change,
exactly,
make change, right?
Exactly, and be able to prevent this
from
happening in the future and have better responses to
exactly.
Unfortunately, I don't think the world will be free of catastrophes, right, with hurricanes, things like that. But now we have more knowledge because of the experiences of the survivors.
And there's some amazing stories about survival.
Absolutely.
Related to the 1947 disaster. We have some in our archive, and then I think you have some in this book, right?
Yeah, so we were there. It was a book put together by the museum with the city of Texas City in 1997 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the disaster, and it is just an alphabetized collection of first-person stories told by survivors themselves. And it is a really, really, really fantastic even just tool for learning more about the experiences of our citizens after that. It's really very moving, and every year we hold the memorial and we hold a survivor reunion as well. So the museum staff is lucky to be able to engage with survivors, and they'll give us even more than what we see in the books. They'll talk to us, and it's really powerful.
That's why some people say Texas City is so resilient. It's the city that never dies, right? Because after that disaster, I mean, the people came back in droves.
Absolutely.
Companies weren't afraid to come back to Texas City. And Monsanto was the first one to say, we are coming back to Texas City. And we're going to rebuild in Texas City. Yeah. Even though they were the ones that were the most, that organization had the most damage compared to everyone else. I mean, as far as companies are concerned.
Yeah, but there's still this push to invest in not just the city, but the people of the city. And that's why our city logo is a phoenix, from the ashes, rise again. So that kind of brings me, we have a lot of items from from the disaster. Teresa and the War Memorial Public Library archives typically hold important documents,
right.
Paper items.
Mm-hmm.
The museum typically focuses on 3D items. So we do have a permanent display in our museum about the 1947 disaster. In April, we expand upon that and create a temporary exhibit. We have quite a few items that we don't get to show year round, that were donated by the Tech City Police Department as a part of our permanent collection. So
what do you have here today?
Today, I have this is the type of item that kind of stops me in my tracks when I'm doing any type of research or any type of collections work.
Mm-hmm.
So today I have a wallet that belonged to a victim of the disaster. And I chose a wallet to show everybody because that, to me, is such a personal item. And we have 10 or 15 wallets that were recovered from the blast site or from the bodies of victims from the disaster. So I think just being able to sit with an object like this and see something so personal is really powerful, and it puts into perspective the people, right, that were a part, that experienced something so
traumatic,
catastrophic and traumatic. It's easy as historians to talk about the facts and the dates, and so sitting with an object like this, again, like I said, just puts it in perspective of what our community had to go through. So this wallet belonged to Fred L. Petillo, it looks like, a salesman. And this was issued by, his ID was issued by captain of the port in Houston. So seeing something like this, it just kind of gives you an idea of the background of the people that lived and died in the disaster.
Now, we don't want to sensationalize it. We just want to know that there's a human aspect to all of this.
Exactly.
The museum also has they take a picture every year.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, that's during our survivor reunion. We invite survivors to come to the museum. We'll host a free day. And we get the survivors together and we take a photo of everybody to just document the surviving resilience, the continued resilience that we see every year. We have over 200 people on our mailing list for it, and every year somewhere around 100 people will come and allow us to take a photo with them and engage with them. And then again, we host a free day so that the survivors and the community can all come into the museum and interact with each other, and
a community have a place to act and be as a community.
Right, exactly. And to I don't know, just talk about whatever they'd like to about their experiences pre, post, during disaster, and just be together.
Well, that's it for today on Texas City Tales.
I'm Shelby Rodwell, the curator at Tech City Museum.
And I'm Teresa Mayfield, War Memorial Public Library, local history librarian. And we'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.